Hey guys, thank you guys for joining us on this podcast. On this podcast, we don't really have a name yet, so we'll figure it out as we go. I'm Emmanuel, and I am joined by my co-host.
Yeah, my name is Onyadesi Anthony.
Great, welcome Onya. How was today? How was your day?
Hectic. I think we've spent the last 1 hour trying to figure out like what this setup is going to be, but
Yeah,
it's been good. It's been good. I don't have much to complain about. Yeah, but getting straight into the discussion, where we have a couple of topics today. I think like four topics. First of all, we're going to start off with what life has been like after university and like how we kind of got into the things that we are currently involved in today. We're also going to talk about some trending topics on Twitter, specifically Paul Graham's tweet that has kind of like spurred up everyone, and everyone is sort of like saying Americans don't really know how to speak English. We're also going to talk about like and something else that kind of went viral on Twitter, and it was how much Chowdeck delivery riders are making on average in a week.
for those who don't know what Chowdeck is a mobile food delivery service. Is that what you do?
Yeah, I think it's based in Nigeria. But I mean, we are going to get into all that by the time we get to that topic. The first topic we're going to be delving into is basically how we got into what we're doing now, and generally how the experience and how life has been after graduating university from a Nigerian university. So for context, Emmanuel and I got into school first of all in 2016, and we graduated from the Department of Electrical Electronics Engineering from the Federal University of Technology way. And anyone who has an idea of what the school is like, anyone who is currently in school or has gone through the school sort of like knows how the school is and what it entails to be a photo student basically. And needless to say, everyone was overjoyed, extremely happy the day we wrote our final paper.
Yeah, that was a crazy year. I mean, there were cars riding crazy. It was a crazy day. I think that day I had like two cans or three cans of beer.
Of beer.
Yeah.
I don't know why am I not surprised, but I mean, sign out day in Futo in Nigerian universities generally is like a day everyone is like really really happy, but in Futo it's especially different because I mean the pomp and pageantry is on a different level. Then in general, everyone is like very very relieved that they are no longer going to write exams in Futo. They are no longer going to think of how they would sit in Hall of Mercy and these other places. But school was sometimes, like most times, very fun, a very fun experience. A lot of the time it was very fun. A lot of the time it was extremely, extremely stressful. But we were all kind of like relieved.
What was your most stressful experience in cooking?
My most stressful experience, I think it would be when we were doing that. The things I can't remember what the maths course was, but it was an engineering maths course. I think it was in 200 level or 300 level. It had to do with something programming. I can't really remember what it was, but that was like the most extremely stressful period for me in that school, because I could not afford it, especially the time when we were doing Fourier series. I don't know if
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I remember.
till now I can't even for the life of me like understand what that thing is. But yeah, that what was your most stressful period?
I think mine was during our project, final year project, because Um,
Yeah, the
I just didn't enjoy it. The story. I think you know what happened. I don't
yeah,
want to talk about it in public,
I
but
know
it was
the
annoying.
person we shall not mention.
Yeah,
But
let's
yeah,
just keep
school.
it.
But I mean, a lot of the time too, school was good. We basically kind of like had a plan for every exam, like how in terms of how we are going
Yeah,
to read and some of the questions that we thought would answer and things like that. But
mm,
we almost had a plan for every exam, which made the thing a lot easier than other activities. Things now I can't even remember the activities we did outside school because half of them I was not involved. I kind of like just heard from you guys. I was like, oh, that was fun. Then
you're the guy that always stays inside. I think the last activity we did also was when we followed us to
to
Shoprite.
to ShopRite. Why don't I
I
remember
think
remember this?
it was this day where okay, that was the last time, but this was one of the last times. We followed to Shoprite. It was me, you, Thelma, Noel,
Okay.
some of Thelma's friends too. I think.
Oh, okay. I think I remember this. But I
Yeah,
think the one
yeah,
after that one, there was one more after the ShopRite thing. It was
yeah.
it was the
You
one we went
followed you followed us
to swim.
to the
Correct.
swimming pool. That hotel. That was the two times you followed us. The
Yeah.
rest was just
I,
you were on your
I
own. So
was
sorry, you didn't get to enjoy the other side of
no,
school. Sorry, not my fault.
but the ones I went to we are the most fun ones, I think. So,
That's a lie. I don't know.
but yeah.
That's a big lie.
Anyways, without so that we don't get like sidetracked, maybe we should like talk about what it has been like after
Yeah,
school and what we are like currently involved in. So you can go first.
actually, everything started in school. So you wouldn't write off what's happening in school. All the experiences we had in school prepared us for what we are currently in my own perspective. Um, so I started learning about the tools I'm using in my job currently while I was still in school. During the COVID break, every school was down in Nigeria. Everybody was at home. People working at home. People working was at home. School students were at home. Everybody was at home. So I just decided to learn the language, programming
I
language.
feel like almost all the skills we are like age group currently have, like the really,
Yeah,
really useful skills, all happened because of like COVID. That's
yeah.
almost like what
They,
what I feel like. Even though COVID is like a
that,
horrible thing, people were getting sick, the
yeah,
whole world was locked down, but a lot of us kind of like got the opportunities that we have now based off of the fact
yeah.
that there was
True.
COVID.
Yeah. I mean, before COVID, I was always eyeing something around Cisco, telecommunication engineering, networking engineering, that kind of thing. But during COVID, I just decided to do something else and decided data was what I was going to do. So here I am. So yeah, I picked the language, I started learning the language, and one thing led to another thing, and I really loved working with that language, in particular R, and I kept learning it until I got a bit good. And I spent the whole year 2020. I spent that whole year learning how to code in R basically. And when we got back to school, when COVID was gone and we came back to resume school, that I think a few months after that, we all went for IT. So IT is industrial trading. Whenever you're in Nigerian university, you are supposed to spend about 6 months in the industry learning whatever course you are picking up. Now I was lucky to work in a data science consulting firm at that time. So I'm still fresh with my R knowledge and just transferred all those skills into a business, actually working environment. So I was able to see how data was used in real life, like in real applications, not just um, fake data or projects or capstone projects, I actually saw how people use data to make money, and I really wanted that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like the IT you did was like the most perfect, like, fit for what you are, because it had really had nothing to do with EE, but because you had
Yeah,
like a few months of experience, because it wasn't that long. I don't think,
yeah,
maybe I'm wrong, but it wasn't that long, like since you started, then you are able to get a role like that, like for your IT, basically just applied and be like, okay, this is my skill level,
yeah,
and like getting in. So I think it might be different for other fields, but most people usually think that you need to be like a pro before
yeah,
you try to get into roles like the one you applied for your internship. Of course, I think it was easier for them to accept you because it was like an internship and you're not obligated to pay IT students in Nigeria. So it might have been easier for them to be like, okay, we would appreciate an extra hand and not necessarily pay them, basically.
people think it's difficult. So there's a lot of talk about it's difficult getting an IT course, and yes, it was difficult for me. Um, but what I did that made me get that place was I just I went through almost every group chat I could find on LinkedIn, and I started bombarding them with um, prepared texts like, "Hey, I'm Emmauel, I'm a student of this from this school. I'm now to do my 6 months IT at the data collecting firm." Like I just wrote everything down. Whenever I get to any group chat, I just bombard that group chat with that text
Yeah.
until someone reached out to me. Funny enough, that lady that reached out to me, I have never seen her before. I don't know her, and she's like, "Whenever you come to Lagos, call me." I got to Lagos the next day. I called her. She told me, "Okay, go to this office on Monday." I went there. Boom! I got a job. And, okay, let's get started. So yeah, that was it, and that was how I got a job.
I think it's, especially when you're trying to look for a job, it's mostly like a numbers game. The more applications you
Yeah,
send out, the more likely you are to be able to get something, like catch something, basically. But
yeah,
I think maybe we should like go back to some of the things you did to prepare you, like some of the resources you used, basically. Because when I think of data science, I'm not essentially sure where to start.
yeah,
It's not something, I'm not, it's not like computer science where you basically pick one niche. If it's like mobile dev, web dev, stuff like that. Data science is something that is kind of still new to people. My parents don't even know what data science is. A lot of people I know are not essentially sure what data science. So if there's someone that is listening that's interested in becoming a data scientist, maybe you can talk about some of the resources you used to like prepare yourself for where you are today.
I mean, whenever someone asks this question, like I always say that when I started learning data, I never knew that I could make money from it. The reason why the reason why I chose to learn data was not because of like I didn't get into data by choosing to learn data. I got into data by choosing to just not be bored. I didn't want to be bored and stay at home in the house. So I just picked up a language. And luckily what I picked was something that you use to work in data. So it was just I guess it was just luck. So I picked one material was a course on EDX, and I just stick to that. I just like stayed with that course, finished it, took the next one because it was a series of courses in one minor degree program. I stuck with all those courses, and I just kept doing them. And I didn't like decide to go and do something else. I just picked one thing and I was learning that thing all through. So now there are a lot of resources out there. It's just pick one and just learn that thing and try to work on your own project. That's what I did. I picked something, finished the course, did some small projects that I could do at that time, and kept, posting my work online. Sometimes just do some challenges online. Um, and start applying for jobs. Like there's no there's no guide to me. I feel like you just pick something and start with something first.
Yeah.
If you start with something, you know what is good in it and what you know you can improve from it. Then you now find what material you use to address that problem. But if you start looking for different guides, you just get lost. You feel overwhelmed easily. So
Yeah.
and also community. That was an issue. I didn't have a community when I started. I was on my own for a very long time. I think I was on my own for like 2 years before I found a community. So I didn't have any mentor out there to like guide me. I was just on my own. So
D-
if you have a community from the start, I think that will help you because
yeah.
in that community there'll probably be some mentors, some head of departments, all these professionals that have been in the game for years. So they'll probably guide you better than you just doing something that might not work, like might not be too good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's
another thing.
I feel like mentorship is something that is very very underrated in a lot of like
Yeah,
fields because it's very
yeah,
easy to grasp certain things when you have someone sort of like holding your hand to do it.
yeah.
So yeah,
But mentorship
yeah,
sometimes I it doesn't really mean you need to meet someone and say, "Hey, be my mentor." It you can mentor, you can be someone you can. I have people who I respect in this field, but I don't exactly go and tell them, "Hey, can you be my mentor?" I just like have them from afar. I watch them. I try to know maybe follow their path in a way and like see how they started, what they are doing, and what I can learn from that. So it does not really mean that you need someone to guide you hand on hand. Like keep guiding. You're not a baby, so you should do your own part and like whenever you get stuck in something and need guidance, then
yeah,
definitely reach out. But sometimes sometimes community is enough for you.
yeah.
Like when people are chatting on the group chats and you see you can learn from there and move on.
Yeah, I pretty much like agree with you because it's the same thing with the way the internet is like basically a lot of us kind of grew up on the internet and
Yeah,
we learned a lot of things that we currently know on the internet. So we didn't
yeah,
know these people that were teaching us these things physically, and we weren't able to be like, Hello, hi, can you look at this issue I have? Can you do this?" We weren't able to do that. It was basically videos, articles, stuff like that
mm,
on the internet that was able to guide us through like navigating a lot of this stuff. Okay, we've seen the way you like sort of like learned how the resources that you've used and your journey basically, but I think a lot of people would also be wondering how you got jobs and where you got these jobs from besides your internship.
So yeah, about job, I guess I where I did my IT, I met some interesting people there, and at first I started doing some small side jobs for them. Like there were basic stuff that they wanted me to just help tidy up. Like those didn't really fetch you a lot of cash, but at least it let me like have a feel of how to make money with my data science skills. So that was pretty good. And but when I started making like the real money, but like let's just say when I started making some cash that I could flaunt around with was when I joined Upwork. Upwork is a freelance platform where you offer your services to people and people pay you for that. So I joined Upwork. Um, Actually, I think I got the idea from you when you joined Upwork.
Yeah, we basically have like a very similar story when it comes to Upwork. We joined it like if I think a month apart from each other. I think, yeah.
How has your Upwork experience been? or are you still there?
No, I've sort of like moved away from Upwork mostly because of the payments issues that they've been having since they got that new policy. But even before that, I kind of stopped doing taking jobs from there. I stopped looking for jobs on there. But maybe before I talk about like my Upwork thing, do you have any other thing you want to add with like talking about Upwork when it comes to like data science?
Oh, yeah. Data science is quite broad, so you probably would not get every data science job you see on my book. So, kind of have a niche. Um, if you are mostly into building applications, data applications, dwell in that niche. If you are mostly into building machine learning models, focus on that niche. Just basically have a niche. That will set you apart. If people see your profile and see that you get a lot of jobs in this particular sector, people would value you more. I think.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
basically niching down and have like a specialty mostly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think maybe I should also I would also like talk about like how I got into what I am currently doing. So for anybody like you guys probably don't know, but I make videos. I like to say I make videos, but I also like specifically do 3D animation. I also like make content based around the 3D software I use, Blender. So how did I get into this? Very similar to Emmanuel. It was during COVID when everyone was home. So essentially, my dad's like business is mostly has to do like with design and using design software. So I used COVID to almost get into what he was doing and learning the intricacies of like his business, which I didn't really do like over the years for some reason. Cause maybe like I would always like use school as an excuse, but I didn't really know much basically with what he was doing. But because it was COVID and everyone was not going to school and not really busy, I started like going to the office with him. But I almost immediately knew that this isn't like really what I wanted to do. So I almost started like looking for other avenues to learn, other things to learn basically. Then I stumbled on After Effects, started doing 2D animation. I still do 2D animation too now. That's why I say when anyone would ask me, I would say I make videos essentially. So I started doing 2D animation for a very like for a span of 6 months, learning it, taking in as much information, learned almost everything I know off of YouTube. I haven't done any paid courses or uh, paid anyone to like teach me. It's a lot of Googling and a lot of YouTube. So I did that for 6 months, and then at the turn of 2021, when we started doing our IT, I then started doing 3D animation, started learning Blender, started modeling. So the method I mostly use, because since I started making content on Blender, the most asked question I've always gotten is, I don't know where to start. How do I start learning Blender? Blender is so hard. So the method I basically used to improve in Blender was to do projects that there was something in one of those projects that I knew I couldn't do. So I had to learn to be able to finish that project. So as soon as I'm done with a particular personal project, I almost have like a new skill in my arsenal when I want to like probably do like client work and stuff. So for anyone who would like want to know a way to improve with Blender is to basically do personal projects, but don't do personal projects based off of tutorials. Do personal projects based off of maybe your own spin on something you saw, and there almost always should always be like an element of I haven't done this before, so I have to learn it. And when I'm done doing it, I almost have like a new skill. So yeah, that's basically how I got into doing it. I mean, doing 3D animation and animation in general for since 2021. What else? Very similar to Emmanuel too. I got a lot of jobs from Upwork before moving away from Upwork. Got some jobs off of Instagram DMs because I was posting my work online. That's like another good way. Post your best stuff online. Try to learn in public, especially with things like design and animation. It's very helpful to, when you do something, you post it online for people to see. You never really know who is going to be able to like maybe give you a job from it, or is going to like your stuff and offer you a job. Since I've gotten jobs from like the Sidemen, and I don't know if anyone listening will know who the Sidemen are. They are a UK YouTube group. Gotten stuff off posting my work on Instagram and on Twitter, places like that. Also did stuff on Upwork. Gotten jobs through Instagram DMs where I was the one like messaging the client. So yeah, that's like a very short summary of my journey into what I'm currently doing now. It's not very interesting, but yeah, for anyone who wants to get into what I'm doing, it's basically, that was like the roadmap, very short roadmap of how I did it.
That's really interesting. The general thing between our stories are like we have a period of time where we spent studying, then there was a period of time where we started working on ourselves, working on our projects, and we started posting our work online, and luckily we were able to get some jobs and start getting life into it.
Yeah, again, the thing is like a numbers game. Your first thing will probably not get like traction, but if you decide to like give up on the first try, you might not necessarily get to where you want to go to, because it's not very often that your first attempt at something would like work out the way you'd expect. But it's not like about giving up on the thing on your first try, because we are not perfect. So yeah, it's important to like keep trying and always have like a 1%, at least a 1% improvement in whatever you're doing each time you're trying something. Okay, yeah, so that's all about how we sort of like got into what we're doing. If you still have any questions, just put them in the comment section. We are going to be happy to answer you if you have any questions whatsoever on what we have spoken of so far. So the next topic would be the tweets that we saw. I think what has been happening on Twitter about the English language, funnily enough. So there's this guy, Paul Graham. A lot of people don't know who he is, so I did some like very little research, but he basically is like a computer scientist, computer engineer. He built Yahoo Store. So it wasn't called Yahoo Store initially, but he had a startup that eventually was bought out by Yahoo, and that's essentially how he made his money, I think. And he's also one of the co-founders of Y Combinator. I don't know if you know what Y Combinator is.
Yeah, some kind of is he investor?
Yeah, it's like an investment firm. So he's one of the co-founders of the organization. So essentially he said something. Let me like pull up the tweet so I am completely sure. So basically said someone sent him a cold email proposing a novel subject. So also, besides being like the co-founder of Y Combinator, he's also a writer. So proposing a novel project, then he noticed the word delve and basically said that because the person used the word delve, and there's if you use words like delve, there are other words like some other people mentioned in his comments. So essentially, there are other words that other people put in his comments, but I think his main issue was using the word delve. And there was, as like always on Twitter, there's always like a massive uproar about something. So a lot of people were like making fun. Some people were like taking it very serious. Some people were like even calling it like some form of racism, linguistic racism. So yeah, I mean, essentially with most things on Twitter, it always gets out of proportion. I just like I most of the time try and choose to like see the funny side of it. But it's funny how Americans, we Africans have to write this exam if we want to live in North America and some parts of Europe. But we by almost all metrics for the English speaking countries in Africa, we almost have like a better grasp of the English language than Americans. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, I think so. Um, I think when it's not your, just the same thing with, for example, you're learning a different language. Say you are learning maybe Spanish or something else. Some words that you might learn are not words that native speakers would probably use on a day to day. So it sometimes it feels like it's foreign somehow. But second speakers, or people that will say they don't speak English as a native language, they do command more words because they probably would read books every day in school. I remember when during English classes that we have to write letters, or formal letters or informal letters. I do have like a set of words that I always use, like those words. Like if I use them in modern day now, it sounds as if it's ChatGPT because I use like in addition, furthermore, like some big words somehow, and it sounds like that.
You're basically incentivized to use bigger words so that it sounds nicer. So that it's. I personally feel like we almost have a better grasp of English than Americans. Americans especially, because they're in Canada. It's also a mix of cultures because there's French and there's English. But with Americans in particular, I think English speaking countries in Africa have a better grasp of English. So essentially, people were making fun of him. I'm going to read out some of the tweets. There are very few. I can't access my quotes on Twitter, so because I think there would be a lot more quotes. So someone quotes tweeted him. I was like, American, I am rich. Nigerian, I am unbelievably liquid.
Yeah.
Like, and that Loki sounds like something in Nigerian in Nigeria would say. Another one says, American, I can't help you right now. Nigerian, I am a man of modest income and I always try not to overstretch my luck. But it's this one sounds like a bit more exaggerated, but it's basically accurate with the way Nigerians speak, especially when they're like in a setting where they need to speak English to other people to try to impress them. I feel like we speak English to impress each other in this country. I don't know if you there's this particular senator that always speaks with.
What's his name? I think an Eduman.
Yeah.
But if you just Google search politician in Nigeria that speaks big grammar, you probably
he would. That's to tell you how popular the man is. There was also this other tweets. I don't know if you play FPL, but FPL has like a notification. So they were like, we delve into the data to compare the top four contenders and their opponents defending. And someone quotes tweeted or mentioned Paul Graham. I was like, Paul Graham is probably fuming where he is now because the English FPL, like fantasy football, fantasy
Yeah.
Premier League, basically use the word delve. So
Delve is a normal word to me. Like, I probably have used delve multiple times. Let's delve into this. Like, delve is normal to me. I don't see it as ChatGPT created. But I get that there are some words that, like, when you see them, like the way it gives ChatGPT. I did see some tweets where people are like denied. Maybe they turn in the paper in school and they get denied because the professor thinks that the person just uses ChatGPT. But the students probably have like a better command of English and they write well. But
I can't really like, I want to say relate because I don't really use ChatGPT for writing papers at all. I basically don't use the ChatGPT most of the time, so I'm not really sure of what words that ChatGPT would put out. I can't tell the difference between an AI written text and something that came from another human being. But I mean, Paul Graham he's the co-founder of Y Combinator. He might know what he's talking about, but I mean, it's always fun when Nigerians get involved with something on Twitter. It's always bants and laughter and things like that.
but there were some like real arguments on based on this Paul Graham's tweet. There's another argument. So when someone says, he was like, if you work for an American, you must conform to their standards. And someone was like, if you're working for an American, you're not working for, you're working with. And the man was like, if American is paying you, you're working for them, you're not working with them. And that was like a whole new argument. Like, it's not for, it's with. Like, okay.
I mean, but those two things are completely different things. If I'm working with you, it basically means, or from my own understanding, it means that we're on the same level, is it not? But if I'm working for you, then you are my boss and I am your subordinate. Essentially, is that not what it means?
It's a little bit different. Like, I'm working with you is, we're all working for the betterment of the company. So
Yeah.
even my boss is working for someone, if we're putting it in that sense. But we're all working together. So I'm working with my boss, I'm working with my colleagues. So the company is paying both of us. So it's really not
It could then like depend on context. I mean, it's not like any of them is wrong. I don't think it's like bad grammar. It's not an argument of bad grammar. I feel like I don't think.
It's not an argument of bad grammar. It was more like showing that we are not less superior or something like that. Because if you work for a news station, you don't say I work with you say I work for a news station, not I work with the news station. But if you are working,
Yes.
if you are with a colleague, okay, I work with him, I work with her. So that's how I say it.
I mean, Americans also do things quite differently. I saw like a very funny video about how they changed words, like pavement, they say sidewalk, horse riding, they say horseback riding. So they basically, yeah, like either elongate things or shorten it or like change it altogether. So it could be like, okay, so the way Nigerians speak English, if regardless of the fact that we are colonized like by the British, the English speaking people, the way we
Yeah.
speak English is very different from the way they do. There are certain things we say here
Actually,
that
I wonder the
yeah.
first set of Nigerians that started speaking English. Like I wonder how the lexical complexity was like following it from then to now, because if you look at our forefathers give speech, they they don't talk like the way we talk. Like
Yeah,
it was different.
it's also the same way where Victorian English is very different from modern day English in the same country. So it's I think it has to do with the time. So over time there will be some words that would come up. Like even in our time there are words that have like sprung up in like the last 2 years, like Riz. Riz is basically an English word. Like at this point, it's at some point it will get into the dictionary, and so it's with all those things, and also with like Nigeria, where there's also a bunch of native language. So it's very typical for another foreign language when it's brought into a non-traditionally speaking place, they would sort of like mix their native language with English and form new vocabulary. It's the same way like Creole is in like Jamaica and some other African countries that speak Creole. Creole is like Patois. Patois is basically English but spoken with a very thick accent. So I think it's just time the existing language at that period, when like over time where everything sort of like accumulates. But to I think the issue people were having with him was to categorically state that because this word was used, it's almost like sure that the person must have used ChatGPT to generate the email, which people we are not really having, especially with Americans' track record with English. So I think that was like the problem. The final thing we're going to be talking about today would be Chowdeck. So I saw I don't know if Emmanuel
I
has
think
seen
I
the
want to be
video.
a rider now. I think on the weekends I should just go and get a bicycle and be taking
And
orders,
you low-key,
because one
cause
first thing first, I will be fit. I'll have good legs. So I'm riding a bicycle every time. I'm making money too, because these guys are making money. Did you watch that? Did you watch that video, or maybe?
yeah, I was going. That was where I was heading to, because the numbers they were calling. But the issue is, if you do it on the weekends, I don't think you would get up to the numbers that they were claiming they were
If
getting. Because
one of the guys says that he does 15 orders, 15 to 20 orders a day. Yeah, and he said in a week he makes anywhere from 35 to 80K or so. So if in a week I have 7 days, you can say I work Monday to Sunday, Monday to Saturday. That's 6 days, and I'm making um 36K. Yeah, I'm making 6K a day, but you probably make higher. If I say let me do it on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, that means I'm making like 12K over the weekend. Not bad money. Just you're paying me 12K to keep fit. It's not bad.
yeah, I mean it's not. But if you kind of take into consideration the distance these people have to go, 12K on the weekend isn't a whole lot of money. I mean I'm saying it's like in
True.
context, but
No one actually asked how far the orders are. Like, are they always within a particular region, or they have to drive far away to deliver? No one
I've
asked
also
that.
not seen like Chowdeck delivery persons in cars or
Nah,
bikes. I always see them on
bicycle.
bicycles. so it's also like extremely tedious, but it's very encouraging that on an average week like 7 days, in the span of 7 days, someone in Nigeria is making like upwards of like 80,000 naira. And I feel like it's also testament to Chowdeck being one of those Nigerian startups that are actually doing well, because I mean there'll always be those ones that won't do well, but we've had like a few success stories, even though this is like really early in their journey, but success story nonetheless.
They are making 80K, 70K, 60K a week. What are people ordering? People really have money in this Nigeria, because it's based on the orders that these other people are making money now. So it means they
Yeah.
wow. So people really, the food business is something that can never really just go away. So
I mean, yeah,
if you can
people.
capture a huge market share in the food business, you are making money.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if Uber Eats comes and gives like them some competition. We already have Uber here in Lagos, at least. So imagine if they come and kind of like give them competition. People will always eat this, no? And in Lagos, I don't know if a lot of people would have time to like sit in their houses and cook. There where people have to leave early in the morning and come back really late in the night. Some people wouldn't really have the time to cook. But 80,000 naira, and when I first heard the figures, I was like, okay, so well, what is the cost of like fuel? What is like all these other costs, that maybe car maintenance? Then I remember that I haven't really seen any of these delivery persons in cars or bikes. It's mostly bicycles, so they are almost always keeping a huge chunk of that money that they are making, which is very nice too. So I mean, Chowdeck is doing very nice. I think it's also encouraging that they have like a good percentage of, but huge percentage going to their delivery riders, which is like going to encourage more people to join the service basically.
And also make people want to buy things from them more, because if for a food business, I think one of the important factors is delivery. To place
Yeah.
an order is easy, but if I place an order and I don't get my food on time, I don't think I want to place
Yeah.
another order. Like there's this
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro restaurant in my area. If I place an order right now, within the next
Yeah.
30 minutes, food is ready with me. So, like, Chowdeck is, I don't know so much about how fast their delivery is, but if their employees, their delivery guys get this amount of money, I feel like their delivery on average
it's
will
it's
be
very it's very important to try as much as possible to keep your delivery people happy, because I saw a tweet earlier this week, and the person was like, if you run a business that has anything to do with delivery people, sometimes you know that it's these delivery people that are like the weapon fashioned against you, which was like, because it's a factor of your business that you can't really control who is going to do the delivery. Like, you can send out an order to a customer that is supposed to arrive that same day, and the delivery man decides, I can deliver this thing tomorrow, when you've already assured somebody that your delivery is coming today, things like that. So it's always good to like keep your delivery persons happy, and always hope or pray that you get good people, essentially, that wouldn't put a bad name on your business. It's just like Bolt has like a very bad reputation now of having bad drivers, or drivers that cause trouble. So
I think it was InDrive.
I haven't really used InDriver. I think I've used them once or twice, and they've all been good experiences. So
There was an InDrive ride we were about to book one day. So we checked the reviews, and the insults that were in that review, like people insulted the man. That the man is. Someone said the man is a greedy old fool.
Yeah, so I mean,
So yeah, we
sometimes
cancelled the ride.
I don't, I'm not sure about like bad reviews like that. Sometimes it's very malicious. It's meant to, like, reviews like that are extremely malicious. It's like a situation where you're trying to hurt the person, and you can tell this person is trying to hurt this other person's business. I would prefer, I would like take a review that would like state the reasons something else, things that happened, and state them like in a calm manner than saying rash things like that. Those ones would be like, okay, yeah, I don't want this guy to get any more rights, so let me write this very horrible review for the driver.
I used to see stories of people who, what do you call them? I think in the US, what they do is they try to get free rides out of all these Uber drivers. But I don't know the full story. But something like they book a ride, then something happens, they then cancel and say whatever. The driver wasn't treating them well, or the driver was harassing them or something. And I don't know if
That's
they
crazy.
get a free ride from it. So that's another story.
It's like I think that's like the downside of some of these applications. I think the drivers also have the ability to write reviews for the customers that they are picking up.
Really?
So if it's
I've not
somebody
seen
that's,
that.
yeah, I think Uber has that feature. I'm not too sure. I stand to be corrected, but I think Uber has the feature where you're able to write a review for the customers, or give like a rating for the customer. So if someone is going to pick up a customer and they see like a 1-star review that this person is like a nasty person, then you're probably
Yeah.
not going to accept that ride. I think there should also be like a feature so both parties are like liable, instead of just having one party being the sole bearer of any conflict that may happen.
Yeah, like the way Upwork works, yeah, the review system, there's review for both the person that did the job and the person that
Yeah,
did the job. So
yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, it's very good. Maybe one day
so
we'll
that's
talk about some of the reviews that we've gotten on Upwork. But
yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Maybe you just pull out the Upwork profiles and read some of the reviews. I mean, I do have a couple interesting reviews. All right, guys, thanks for listening to this short, long, I don't know, episode.
yeah, it was a good first episode. We still need to figure
It was a
out
good first episode.
what's
There was a lot of issues, a lot. For context, we plan to record this episode by 10 p.m. We had
yeah,
a lot of
and it's
technical issues, and we
it's
recorded
currently 1 a.m.
It's currently 1 a.m. and we just finished recording this. So we've learned from our mistakes, and we know how to avoid those mistakes. I hope we've learned from our mistakes.
Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next episode. Hopefully we would have a name by then, but thank you again for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Give the video a like, comment, subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe.
We will see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.